what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I think it's been like 6 months since I've updated you guys with any sort of updates about what's been going on in our lives. And if you've been following my Instagram, you might kind of have more or less an idea. But I'm gonna go ahead and tackle some of those quick questions that I've been getting the most. First, everybody's been asking, Dustin, are you guys still in Malaysia? Unfortunately, no. We actually just moved back to the United States about 3 weeks ago. I haven't recorded any of those updates. Honestly, there was so much going on during these last few months, and of course, I'll get to that here in a second. But yeah, we ended up having to come back to Florida. We're at my mom's house actually visiting her. We're right before we're about to head off to Panama. We're actually gonna go down to Panama actually in the next couple days or so, and we're gonna go visit Evelyn's family. Second thing that I get a lot of questions about is the Zafiro. Whatever happened to Project Zafiro? Unfortunately, since I decided to move back home because my contract finished at my job, I actually had to sell Project Zafiro. I sold it all the way back in March. Honestly, the car it just wasn't coming together the way I was hoping it would, but I didn't sell it because of that reason. I actually sold it because I couldn't find anybody to help me export the car over here to the United States. So I kind of had to scratch that idea, but I actually have a brand new project coming up for the channel that's gonna be arriving in the next few days as well, and it's gonna be a twin turbo car. I'm not gonna tell you guys what it is, but there is a project that is gonna be on the channel, and it's gonna be another project build. So it's not gonna be like what you saw in the Zafiro where it was like a total, fixer-upper. This thing is actually really, really nice. It's a JDM right-hand drive twin turbo car. You can let me know down in the comments if you think you know what it might be, or you can take a guess. But beside all that stuff, the most important thing I've been getting a lot of questions about is whatever happened to the baby. So in the last video, you guys probably saw we were doing like those cravings, like what are some of Evelyn's cravings? Well, that was back in March, right? Well, as you guys can probably tell by the title of this video, your boy Dustin is finally a father. All right, guys, introducing to you our beautiful baby girl, Alanna Jo. Everybody say hi. Say hi, Alanna. Hi. Hi, BB. So this is our beautiful baby girl, Alanna Jo. She is a half Panamanian, half American. Well, I guess she's gotta be technically Malaysian, right? Because she was born in Malaysia. But she is now 3 months old. We decided not to do any videos or anything like that as far as YouTube goes anyway for the first few months. Because I tell you what, guys, it is exhausting having a child in the very beginning of the stages. I'm sure if any of you guys are parents out there, you probably know exactly how exhausting it can be.
Han sido unos meses de locos. Esto ha sido una locura. Hemos estado muy cansados y organizando todo lo que hemos tenido que hacer estos 3 meses, pero ya aquí está la bebé.
So aside from this little blessing being born, of course, we're like I mentioned earlier in the video, we're in the middle of moving over here to the United States. So it has been quite a busy few months. But anyway, we'll get more into that in another video. But for now, let's just enjoy this beautiful girl who, my gosh, she's got like, what happened? She looks like Harry Potter right now because she's got like these Wolverine claws. Gosh, I don't know how. Evelyn just cut these nails a couple days ago too, and she's over here scratching her face. But it's okay. It's okay. Hi. I tell you what, watching this little thing grow has been amazing these last few months. I mean, all she did in the very beginning was sleep and eat. I mean, that's pretty much all she does right now, but...
No, pero ahora está más tiempo despierta, está más alerta, ve muchos detalles, especialmente de los abanicos. Le encantan los abanicos.
Yeah,
loca por los abanicos.
It's so true. She just like will stare at a fan. I mean, not like this kind of fan, but like a ceiling fan. She just loves to stare at ceiling fans. But my favorite thing has to be these little toesies. Look at these little things. I just love that we just kind of like wrap around your finger. Look at them. They're just so cute. And it's funny when Evelyn's feeding her next to me, she'll like pinch me with these things. They're like little claws, I tell you. Crazy. Hi. 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 I don't think she's been on camera before like this.
No, es su primera vez en el vlog.
Woohoo!
Mi amor, es tu primera vez.
I don't know what to make of all this.
¿Qué está pasando? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso?
Yeah.
¿Qué es eso?
If you only knew, there were so many people that were waiting to meet you before. They were excited in the last video. She's like kicking me. Look at that. Super excited. Hi, BB. Hi. All right, so the camera died just a minute ago. I just went ahead and changed my shirt too because it was all dirty anyway. But I thought it'd be fun if we go ahead and share with you guys the story about how this little blessing came into our lives. You want to tell the people the story about how baby Alanna was born?
Me gusta más como tú la cuentas. Yo puedo agregar algunos detalles.
All right, so first of all, you're probably like, why are they standing up? Well, this little one over here hates when we sit down. I don't know if you guys have babies at home that don't like to sit down, but this little girl hates when we sit down. Yeah, that's you. That's you. Who's that? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys some of the details about what happened. So Alanna was born on March 20th, right? So that was on a Saturday. On Friday, we actually had a doctor appointment for Evelyn's last and final follow-up that we were gonna have before we're gonna kind of get closer to the due date, because I think you were due when, the 7th or 6th of April?
Yeah, 7.
All right, so she was due on the 7th. So we had about 2 weeks or so right before she was due, right? So I actually had a spring break from my school that was coming up from the 20th all the way until I think the 4th. I don't know, whatever that Monday is, that's before the 7th, right? So the baby was due 2 weeks from then. I had a whole week planned, a spring break. Well, again, this is like right when the quarantine was about to start, that MCO lockdown that they had again. So we didn't really have any big plans, so it wasn't really that exciting anyway. However, it would have just been nice to relax and have a break from all the hassle and stress, because I had report cards from when I was teaching over there. And it was just, I needed a break, right? So we go into the doctor's office on the 19th. That's a Friday. So they gave us a little ultrasound, right? Didn't they do like an ultrasound for the baby, right? So they did the picture and everything. And so the doctor, she gave us an option. She's like, you can induce labor if you want. If you like want to plan it out a little bit, right? If you want to have it, have the baby come out on, let's say, the 4th of April or the 2nd of April or whatever, just whenever we wanted. Because Evelyn wasn't feeling any pain. She didn't feel like she was going into labor or anything like that. So we're thinking like, all right, what if we wait until the following Thursday or Friday, because we knew I wasn't going to have a lot of days off with paternity leave. I think it's only like 3 days or something like that at my school, something ridiculous like that. So we were thinking like, how can we maximize the time where I'm going to be home and I'll, you know, have a break, all that good stuff, right? Basically what happens is we go to the doctor, she gives the ultrasound, and we start to go from that day and thinking like, all right, you know, I wish baby Alanna would just come. Evelyn was like, what were you saying? Tell you.
Yo dije, yo quiero que nazca mañana.
Yeah.
Y tú dijiste, ¿por qué? Yo no sé, yo quiero que nazca mañana.
So in my head, I'm thinking, nah, you know what? I want to enjoy my week because I know it's going to be a lot of stress, a lot of...
Compraste unas cervezas.
So I bought some beers to have with my buddy next door, and we had this whole day planned out where we were going to hang out and spend some guy time, right? Just because he had a new, well, not a newborn, but a 1-year-old, and we were going to spend some time just hanging out, enjoying our break from working. Well, this little girl had her own idea of what she wanted to do. All right, so here we are now on Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, I usually wake up early anyway. I'm up at like 6:30 in the morning. I don't know. I just always am an early bird from working at school. And so I was on the phone with my dad. I think I called my sister on FaceTime, and then I called my dad on FaceTime. And so it's about 7:15 because I talked for a long time. And Evelyn comes in the house, and so she hears me talking to my dad, and she's like, babe, you know, in this really raspy voice. I don't know, I just thought she was like, I just thought she was really sleepy and didn't want to talk or didn't want to appear on the camera in front of my dad. You know, she's in her sleeping outfit. So I ignored her. I completely ignored her. I just kept talking as if nothing was wrong. Well, I think what, about another 15 minutes or something like go by, about 15, 20 minutes. So she's like, babe, I'm bleeding. I'm like, what? So I'm like, Dad, I gotta go. So I slam the computer down, I go running out to the bedroom, and I see that she had a little bit of spotting blood, and I'm like, oh my God, what does that mean? Does this mean your water broke? Or, you know, I'm thinking of like all these movies that you see on TV where it's this dramatic moment of gushing water and explosions and whatnot, and you know, it was nothing. It was like a little bit of blood right in the bed. So I'm asking, I'm like, are you in pain? Do you feel anything? Are you okay? She's like, no, I'm fine. It's just, I don't know why there's blood. So I'm like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? So I'm running around like as if a chicken with his head cut off, running around trying to figure out what to do. I had nothing prepared because I was anticipating that the baby wasn't gonna come for another week. I mean, we luckily had her clothes and her bag prepared for a long time, but I didn't have anything in my backpack prepared at all. So I'm running around grabbing whatever I can find, whatever shirts I can grab and they're clean, and threw them in a backpack. And I said, okay, let's go to the doctor. Let's figure this out. Worst case scenario, they'll just send us home. So I call up the doctor or not the doctor, we call up the maternity ward over at the hospital. And they say, okay, don't worry, just come in, we'll check her out. We've got, you don't like this part of the story? She's like, you know what, just come in, there's nobody here in the maternity ward. We'll check you in, we'll see, if everything's okay, and then we'll go from there. So I'm like, awesome, fantastic. So of course, I call up a Grab because I didn't have the Safiro anymore. I had sold it, and honestly, if I did have the Safiro, it probably wouldn't have even made it. So I call up the Grab service. Oh, what's the matter? Who's that? Who's that? So I call up the Grab service, and the next thing you know, there's this taxi that shows up, and I'm like, oh, criminy, because when you're thinking about it, when you call up a Grab, you're expecting like at least a nice, clean car. Well, we get one of these like red taxis, and I don't mean to be talking down if you're a taxi driver, but this particular taxi was in like really shoddy condition. I mean, the doors didn't even unlock. Like, I asked the guy to unlock the door. He's like, no, you gotta reach in from the window and pull it up. And I'm like, oh, criminy, this is not gonna be a good situation. So we sit down in the taxi, and I had the coordinates all prepared to go to the hospital. And the guy's like, oh, how do I get there? What do you mean, how do you get there? Follow the GPS. The GPS isn't working. I'm like, are you kidding? Of all the times for this kind of thing to happen. So the guy's like, oh, no, just give me 10 minutes. I'm like, dude, I have no idea how to get to the hospital. This is why I pay the Grab guy to do it, because I had no idea how to get there. So he starts driving out of the apartment complex, and we get down to like another 5 minutes away, and the GPS still didn't work. And he's like, no, it'll come back. It'll come back. I would, if you've ever been in that situation, you know how stressful it is. I told the guy, I'm like, dude, just let us out of the car right now, and I will call someone else that can get us there. He's like, no, I'll get us there. So luckily, the guy's taxi finally picks up the signal. We start driving down the highway, and this guy's like driving as if he's on a vacation. He's like going, I don't know, like 30 kilometers per hour, just as if there's no cares in the world. Meanwhile, I got this one over here that we thought was in labor, or at least in some sort of trouble. Well, we finally start getting closer to the hospital. The dude misses the off-ramp to get to the hospital, and I'm about to just lose my cool in that moment. But we kept it cool. We were okay. We got to the hospital, and next thing you know, the escalator's broken that goes up the stairs, so we couldn't even take the escalator. I had to search around the hospital to try to find an elevator that would take us upstairs, and it was quite the mission just to even get to the maternity ward, right? All right, so we had to take a little bit of a poop break. Unfortunately, the little one's tummy wasn't feeling too good. Yeah, right.
Hoy hemos intentado grabar esta parte del video 3 veces. Una locura con un bebé, no es lo mismo que solo tú y yo.
It's definitely not. She's right. Every time I hit the record button, like Evelyn had the camera and she's holding it, I'm holding the baby, and every time we hit that record button, she's like, oh, what do you think? Yeah, I guess that's the secret. If you need to have your baby poop, just get a recording camera and film her and she'll poop her. But anyway, so as I was saying, okay, so we're at the hospital. We just got to the hospital, and as we're sitting there, the doctor sits her down on the table, or not the doctor, I keep saying the doctor. The nurse got her onto the medical table and set us up in the room and everything, and they were super, super nice over there. We went to, where did we go? Desa Park City Medical Center? Mm-hmm. So we're over there at the hospital in the maternity ward. She sits us down, gives us a room, and kind of starts to explain things to us. And she was basically saying like, no, the doctor's not going to come unless you are a certain centimeter, I guess, dilated. And the doctor wants to check it out. So she went in there, got Evelyn set up, and Evelyn's like, again, she's in no pain. She's not feeling anything. And we asked her, is, the blood normal? She's like, yeah, it can be. It could be a sign that there's like, that it's time for labor to begin. And, just it's better that you came in. All right, so we got all set up. And then so the attending physician, she checks Evelyn out, I guess, and she was at what, 3 centimeters? So she was already at 3 centimeters. And she's like, I'm gonna call the doctor. You know, we didn't know any better. Evelyn was just chilling. What were you feeling?
Yo estaba normal, sin dolor, relajada, solo esperando a ver qué me decían, pero no tenía ningún dolor ni nada.
Exactly. So the doctor finally comes, I think after like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So mind you, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning by this point. After we got into the hospital and got her checked in and everything, it was about 8 o'clock in the morning. And then when we were over there at the doctor's, the doctor came in, she looked at Evelyn and she's like explaining the different options. Like, you know, there's different forms of not birth control, pain control. Like you can do some sort of shot. Obviously you have the epidural, which is the one that like numbs half your body or something like that.
Sí, esa es la más conocida, la que yo había escuchado, pero ella nos dio la opción de otras dos que nunca había escuchado. Bueno, cuando ella llegó ya tenía 5 centímetros.
No, you were still at 3 at that point when the doctor first saw you.
Sí.
Yeah. So the doctor came in and saw her at 3 centimeters, and she was basically saying, okay, well, here are your different options of pain control, whatever. So, you know, these are what I recommend you can do. There's the epidural, there's another one that they inject you in the leg, and then that only gives you about like 50% or 25% pain control. I don't know, something like that. And then there was another one where it was laughing gas, which to me I'd never heard of for birth control, for labor, but I've had it when I went to the dentist before when I was a kid. But I never expected that to be something for labor.
Yo nunca había escuchado de eso.
Yeah. So anyway, we're at so then right after that, the doctor's like, you know what, let me go ahead and check you out, see where you're at, and we can figure out what to do from there. So the doctor goes in there and, you know, dives in there, whatever she does, and she checks her out and sees that she's already at 3 centimeters. She verifies it's 3 centimeters, and the doctor's looking at her like, this is strange. Evelyn, are you feeling any pain at all? Evelyn's like, no, I'm good.
No.
So the doctor looks at her and she's like, you must have a really high threshold of pain, because normally by 3 centimeters, most women are in like excruciating or agonizing pain or something like that. So I don't know what kind of like baby birth giving body Evelyn has or something like that, but man, she was well equipped. So the doctor comes and looks at us and she's like, okay, you know what? I wouldn't even recommend the other injection. I would only recommend the injection. The epidural might not be necessary. So Evelyn decided, you know what? All right, I'll take the injection in the leg, which again, it only like numbs her a little bit, but it's supposed to make her a lot more groggier the next day. So she'd be a little dizzy or something like that, right? So anyway, we decided on that route. So a few hours go by, Evelyn's chilling, she's still feeling pretty good. The nurses kept coming in and checking in on her and seeing she's okay. And guys, let me tell you, if you have ever been with your wife and stayed with her at the hospital during this time, it is the most uncomfortable thing for a guy to have to do. And okay, don't get me wrong, I'm comparing apples to oranges. Obviously, she was the one that had to deal with all the uncomfortableness for this little nugget right here. But I don't know, guys, if you know what I mean, I'm sure we can compare our sad stories, right?
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué fue?
Well, I mean, it's just like okay, so they give you like this chair that unfolds into a bed. But even then, the one that I got was broken, so they had to switch out a whole chair in the middle of the not the labor part, but when we were like waiting for her to get to go into the labor itself. It was just uncomfortable. Bring a pillow, bring a blanket, whatever you gotta do. But anyway, all right. So I'm getting sidetracked here. All right. So anyway, Evelyn's in the delivery room. At this point, she's starting to get 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, and now the doctor's asking her like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it."
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So this is probably about, I don't know. I want to say 4:30. I'd say about 5. I think it's about 5 because the baby actually was delivered at 5:45 or something like that. So we went in at 8 o'clock. Baby was born at 5:45. But before we get to that part, so Evelyn starts to go into labor a little bit, and the doctor starts, okay, let's get this started. Let's get this show started. Evelyn's like, I feel like I need to push. So I'm like, she's gonna push.
Sí, o sea, en ese punto yo sentía que ya iba a venir, que ya iba a salir y mi cuerpo me pedía...
Push.
Ajá.
Yeah, right?
Entonces yo le decía a Dustin, ya viene, yo siento que ya viene. Y no veía a nadie ahí, pero todos estaban ahí, la doctora y las enfermeras estaban ahí, solo que yo no las podía ver, pero sí, así fue.
Yeah, so the doctor came in and all the staff members, and they started setting up the tables and whatnot. They started giving her some gas, and I was thinking, oh, it's probably oxygen, whatever. So then, mind you, she already had the injection for the leg, so she was already feeling kind of loopy and groggy at this point. And a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, right? And you don't, this is your favorite part. So next thing you know, the doctor hands me the mask. They're like, here, help her breathe while we get everything set up. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem, I can handle this. So I put the mask on her face, and I'm like, deep breaths. Like that, right? I'm showing her how to do it. So Evelyn's deep breaths. I'm looking at this mask. I'm like, this doesn't look like an oxygen mask. I ask him, I'm like, is this laughing gas? Like, yeah, that's the nitrous oxide. I'm like, oh my God, I've been telling her to like huff this stuff. And they're like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. That's too much. So now Evelyn is getting high as a kite off of this stuff. She's feeling like she's in a whole nother, she's feeling like she's in a whole nother world. She couldn't believe it. So she doesn't even remember half of the labor at this point, do you?
Yo recuerdo, pero no recuerdo mucho, no sé cómo explicar. Pero sí recuerdo que no fue tan largo. Mi dolor fue aproximadamente como 50 minutos de dolor. No como otras personas que yo siempre escucho que duraron 20 horas, 17 horas.
Yeah.
No, en verdad yo solo sufrí 1 hora. Y ya, después cuando ya me tocó trabajar duro para que saliera Alanna, fueron 3 veces. Y ya, yo sentí cuando ella salió, yo sentí todo. Y sí, yo lo recuerdo, pero como si fuera un sueño.
Well, her face, and okay, let me tell you from my perspective, right? So that's her version of the story. So I'm standing on the bedside now. I'm doing the fatherly or the husband thing, push, you can do it, blah, 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 right? And the next thing I see this little thing fly out of the, and the doctor grabs her. Yeah, I know. This is the best part of the story. So we get her up, and then the next thing you know, she comes out, she's ready, she's born, and the doctors like throw her on top of Evelyn, and poor Evelyn has no idea what's going on, in my opinion, because I see her face, and there's this baby on top of her. She's like, and I'm standing there like,
No, en ese momento yo tenía los ojos cerrados porque yo estaba... Entonces yo no sabía que me la iban a dar inmediatamente. Y tú me dijiste, la tienes ahí, o sea, te la están dando. Y yo abrí los ojos y la vi, pero como mi cuerpo no estaba tan en 100%, yo intenté tocarla, pero ¿la toqué o no?
Yeah, of course you did.
Sí. Y ya se la llevaron de una vez. Pero sí, yo lo recuerdo. Quizás mi cara no era la mejor.
So I go in, I take her into the waiting room, not the waiting room, the doctor takes Alanna into this other room to the weigh station. They go ahead and they weigh her, they check her hearing, all that good stuff. And of course, then the doctor attended to Evelyn and helped her feel better and recuperate and whatnot. So yeah, it was quite the interesting ordeal. I'm not gonna lie. It was something I have never experienced in my life, like any emotions like that. And she was just beautiful. I didn't know what else to say. I saw her. I started to get like teary-eyed a little. I didn't cry, but it was definitely an emotional feeling. Like you just feel like, wow, I can't believe she's here. You have this whole idea of what it's going to be like, or expectation of what it's going to be like. And
y todo el proceso, cada mes, cada cita, cada examen. Sí, yeah. Y cuando ya la ves por primera vez, como que wow, ya está aquí.
But I'm not gonna lie, those first couple nights that we got her home, like in the hospital, it was easy peasy because the physicians were there and they helped us out. They basically helped feed her, they helped change her, and we were okay. We're like, oh, this isn't so bad. First night we got home, we had no idea what we were doing. I swear we cried. We both cried. There was a point in the night where this baby would not sleep. We had no idea what to do. I mean, she wasn't eating enough, or we didn't know. I mean, we just didn't know. So Evelyn wanted to try breastfeeding, but we couldn't get her to latch right away. And so we hired a coach, and that made a world of difference. So ladies, I swear, if you need a breastfeeding coach, or if you need help getting the baby to latch, get a breastfeeding coach.
Sí, fue una ayuda. Nosotros llegamos a casa martes y pudimos hacer una cita con una coach el jueves y ya de ahí en adelante, excelente. Pero las 2 primeras noches fueron horribles.
Yeah, it was night and day by the time the coach came in and taught Evelyn like some different techniques to how to hold the baby. It wasn't so much that she wouldn't latch, it was more or less that we had to find a good technique to hold her so where she was comfortable. Because the nurses at the hospital taught us a couple ways, but it just wasn't comfortable for her or the baby, and I don't know. Either way, I think it was like 40 ringgit. I don't remember the name of the lady, but if anybody's interested, I'll see if I can find it and put it down in the information area. But she was awesome.
Sí, también todas las que ya son mamá me entienden. Normalmente tenemos un sistema de apoyo de familia, toda la abuela, la tía, y nosotros 2 estábamos solos allá, pero tuvimos mucha suerte porque mucha gente nos ayudó.
Yeah.
Sí.
Yeah, we had a lot of help from we had a lot of help from the parents at my school. They were nice enough to donate food, and we got some nice gifts and clothes and whatnot, and a lot of the teacher friends that I have, and it was great. It was honestly the best couple months that we could have expected or had in that time. And of course, that was right during the quarantine when all that stuff was starting, so visitation was limited. And luckily, I know this is one of those things where as a teacher I wouldn't like to say luckily I had to go on virtual learning, but it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because during that time I was able to work from home, and I was able to help out with Evelyn and the baby while she was there by herself. So we didn't have to get a nanny or anything like that. But now we're finally back home in the United States. We're actually about to fly out to Panama in a couple days, and we're gonna be able to go see her family. So Evelyn's gonna be super excited about that. And we're gonna be able to meet her well, not us, but Alanna is finally gonna get her meet her other family, right?
Sí, por fin.
So she's gonna meet all her cousins, her grandma, and her grandpa, and her tios. She's super excited. Well, I know we are excited as well. So we're gonna be doing some vlogs down there in Panama. I'm gonna hopefully get some good videos depending on what we get to do. Maybe we'll get a chance to see some of the beaches and whatnot over there. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see when we get there, because right now, of course, they have their own quarantine and their hours of when you can go out and do stuff and whatnot, but
Pueden escribir abajo qué les gustaría ver de Panamá, qué les interesa, la comida, playas, los lugares, la gente, la estructura, las casas. Escriban.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be there for a while, and Evelyn is too, so hopefully we'll get some videos down there. In the next video, I'm also gonna introduce to you guys the JDM project car that is gonna be on this channel as well. So stick around for that. I know some of you guys are following the channel because you like the cars. And of course, we're gonna be showing you guys all the different stuff that goes on through our life with this new adventure of being a father and a mother, and all this other craziness that goes on. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it was a bit of a long one with all this talking, but it was one that we know that a lot of you guys have been waiting for. So hopefully you guys got a chance to kind of get an idea of what's been going on these last 6 months. It's just been too exhausting between having a baby and moving and getting everything else sorted out to really pick up the camera. But you know what? I have the time now. We have some ideas. The baby's a little bigger. She's a lot more independent. So we're gonna do a lot more vlogging and whatnot on a regular schedule. Plus now we have the project car. So that also fills out some of that content that I've been wanting to do myself. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys, no, we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.